I'm going to call this meeting to order. It's now 5:30 on June 23rd, and the purpose of the meeting is to look at the parking authority request for gate financing. My name is Phil Kern. I'm the chairman of the committee. Also on the committee is Councilman Phil Cola, Councilman Ben Janice. Also present is Wayne Shepard representing the mayor's office, Les Pinter representing Corporation Counsel, Dan Garrick representing the Director of Finance, and Deborah Pacific representing the Parking Authority. I think I'll open it up first. I guess go to Deborah and explain to us what you're doing, and then
Okay.
we'll take it from there.
I will explain. The gate equipment at the Patriot Garage is original to the building, so we're going on 19 years. The spitter portions of it are no longer supported by the vendor, so we need to replace it. If we replace just the spitters, the rest of it's going to need to be replaced very shortly, because we're continuously having problems with the whole thing. The cost is just under $75,000 total installation and all. We have the funds in the bank to pay for it, but if we take the funds from the bank and pay cash for the equipment, it will only leave us $40,000 in reserves. So our concern is the cash flow position we will then be in. Right now, we're working, we're fine, we are able to pay our bills, but we don't have a lot of excess funds at the end of every month. And as the garage is again getting to be 19 years old, we're concerned about any other maintenance issues that may arise, and we want to be able to have the funds available to make any repairs or anything that comes up, to be able to have the money to pay for those. So we looked into financing. Savings Bank of Danbury was the best rate that we could come up with. We did private financing, would have been much more expensive. Savings Bank of Danbury is willing to do a collateral loan for us. They will hold our $75,000, which we have with them $82,000. So they will hold $75,000 as a collateral for the money. And as we pay off the loan, they will release the funds back to us for our working capital. I will let you know also that the board did not 100% decide to finance the entire $75,000. We needed to make the decision quickly. We had to order the equipment because it takes so long to get in. It will be delivered and installed sometime mid-July. We weren't sure, and it's still up for discussion, whether we want to finance the entire $75,000, if we get permission to do that, if we want to finance half of that so that we have more to work with, but we just need permission to do any kind of financing. So that was our intent with the letter.
Wayne, what's the mayor's office?
Whatever works.
Whatever works.
Move right ahead. I mean, I'm not going to make your decision for you, but if that works best for the parking authority, that's a procedure to go with. I don't think it's broken any tradition or anything, has it, Les, for any past practice?
I haven't seen this kind of request before.
State statute requires us
You're
to
basically, though, just looking for permission to move ahead.
finance.
Just through the chair. Interest rate, Savings Bank of Danbury, what are they charging you?
They are charging us 2.5%. Plus the rate of that we presently have on our CD. We have one CD for 59, which is at 0.9%.
Wow.
I know. And then we have the second one is at 0.58%. It's a money
So
market.
it's 2% plus
2%
plus 9, so it's about 3.5%?
Exactly.
It's like prime rate.
Right.
And so, okay, so my question would be to the finance director. Because I know I talked to David on this previously, and he was thinking about it a little bit, so I'm going to go through Dan if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
The problem here is not the new gate, because we believe you need new equipment, you should get the new equipment. My question is funding and saving 2.5% interest.
Mm-hmm.
If the city was to advance you the $75,000, similar to what the bank would do, and then you pay back the city at a rate equivalent to a rate that we have, Would they, if the city was willing to do it, from the finance director's point of view, would the parking garage be willing to do something of that nature?
I don't see why not.
Because in my, 75,000 is being collateralized and it's gonna be frozen, so you can't use it.
Right.
So it doesn't make any difference, so you don't have it for working capital anyway. So as you start paying back $1, they release $1. So why couldn't the city do a similar financing, say, as you start paying back, we'll release the 75,000 that we'll hold as collateral as well, and charge you a rate of 1 or 2.5%. So the city will make money, and it will also help the authority as well. 'Cause, I mean, that's my point of view. I don't know.
Dan, what do you?
It makes perfect sense, you know, so I hate to say win-win. You know, it's frees up your cash flow. City makes a little more interest than what they'd make at the bank. You know, I don't want to say it, but you know, we're kind of on the hook for it anyways if you weren't able to pay off the loan. So
We're all on the same team.
and saves, you know, any closing costs or any other expenses you might have based on the loan with the bank.
Wayne?
Can I ask a question? Is there any PR, because I know the mayor will go either way with this, but is there any PR issue with banks if we start to become a bank?
It's all internal.
Anybody got an opinion on that?
In this economy,
Okay,
we do what's good for the city.
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
We've done it.
I think we're in it to
Okay,
save as
all right.
much money as we can for the city. I kind of agree with Ben on this one.
That, I mean, it makes sense to me, I certainly.
And you really don't care as long as you get your gate.
Yeah, we need the gate, so we will be, you know.
What is the life expectancy on a gate anyway?
Well, it's lasted us almost 20 years, so hopefully it will last us another 20 years. Yeah.
Dan, excuse me, can I
Go
ask a
ahead,
question?
yeah, sure,
You just
yeah.
mentioned that you've done this before with,
It's been done
Okay, I
prior
guess that-
to my time, but
okay.
I've seen records where it's been done, at least with Brickner. I'm not sure any other authorities. So it's not, you know, breaking.
But, you know, on the standpoint of the bank though, I don't think the bank's gonna be really mad because you still got $75,000 sitting in their bank.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're still a customer.
okay, just wanted to toss that out there.
We wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion of the city of Danbury that it will advance the $75,000 subject to a rate. I mean, I don't know what rate the city would charge, subject to a rate comparable to their bank, their.
Not to exceed the
Not to
bank.
not to exceed the rate of the bank.
Second.
I'm sorry, you said you moved to recommend? that
Recommend to the
city-
council that the city advance the $75,000 to the Danbury Parking Authority and charge them interest not to exceed the prime rate.
Is there a length of time on your motion?
What was that?
Well,
5
We
years?
were going to do up to 5 years. We hadn't gotten into the details because, you know, we thought we would spread it out 5 years to make the payments, again, reasonable enough for us. so.
Right, not to exceed 5 years. So you can pay it off as early as you wish.
Right, well, that would be the hope.
Is that?
Makes perfect sense.
You got a second on that?
Second.
Any more discussion on it?
Before you go too far with that motion, just
Okay.
two questions, two issues. One is that the
Collateralized by the 75,000.
Go ahead.
did the authority vote a certain way on this, Debbie? In other words, did they make a motion to do it to the bank specifically?
No, they did not. They made a motion last month, 2 months ago, to order the equipment, so it has been ordered and it is to be delivered, and that's it.
Okay, when coming to the council for this request to use the bank to borrow versus over the CD, that's the request that came to the council,
Right.
not any alternative request.
No.
So the council committee has a limitation because the request that came in was very specific. Because the documents submitted were Savings Bank of Danbury specifications, and the letter request from the finance director attaches specific documentation. So, I mean, this alternative it's not really the charge of the committee. I mean, it is, in general terms, it's the charge of the committee. But that's what one reason I asked you if the authority had specifically authorized a certain approach by their vote. That's, I think, where you...
Les, could we throw it out as our motion out as an option to the council to vote? Rather than to
You
say that
could,
you
yeah.
have to do it this
I mean,
way?
you could do that. I don't think there's a lot of big issue with it. Like I said, the only problem is that the request came in as a very specific request because of the attachments. If you go back with a recommendation that's different from that, I think you'd probably be okay because it's certainly related to it. That's a different alternative that really no one has had a chance to vet prior to this committee meeting, okay? There's a whole different set of rules with something like that we would have to look at. See, your committee brought people in to speak to the request that was made, which is it okay for the authority to come in and borrow money from the bank? Is that okay with you guys? That's all that's before you. No one had a chance to really review the alternative option and examine that. So if you make a recommendation that happens to fall outside some authority, then you have a problem with that.
So what you're saying, we should recommend to deny the request for the Savings Bank of Danbury and leave as an option that the council to consider as long as no one sends it to an ad hoc to bring it back, we can make the motion.
Or you could hold the committee open, not make a recommendation, and come back after everybody's had a chance to look at that alternative, talk to Debbie, talk to the authority and how that, I don't know, Debbie, would they be favorable to that or not, I don't know. But you'd want something from the authority to say that would be an okay approach. I'm sure you have the authority to say that, but you know, what if the authority doesn't want to do that? I don't know. There's nothing from the authority to say that they would go with another route. So I think you got those issues in there.
But I think that request didn't come from the authority. The Savings Bank of Danbury request. That came from the finance director.
Yeah, but listen, according to this too, it just says here, attaches the request for the parking authority for permission for the city council to finance $75,000 for gate equipment at the Patriot Garage. It doesn't say anything about Danbury Savings Bank.
Well, and that's a built-in problem right there because the cover letter doesn't match the documentation. The documentation is very specific. Correct me if I'm wrong, Debbie. The documentation is specific. We have a CD in the bank. All we want from you, the city, is give us the right, give us the okay to borrow from the bank against that CD. That's all they wanted from the city. So the committee could easily say no problem or no to that. The problem is coming up with an alternative that's not the request. It's not the specific request. It's a different request, which is fine. But then your option is to hold the committee open, come back with recommendations on that from the authority and from the folks, from the departments. Otherwise, you're going to go with something different. Council people are going to say, "Oh, we thought there was a different request. So what's this?" That's all I'm saying. It may not be a big hoo-ha, but somebody could ask the questions about it's a different form.
If we, to the chair,
Go ahead.
if we recommend to come back to the council to reject their request to use their funds, could the mayor itself, without the council approval, advance the funds?
No.
They need council approval to advance the funds.
For any sort of borrowing, or lending, or authorization to borrow from a bank like this, the council will, at least to give it just a surface approval. You have to at least, you can do it easily. Like tonight, you just say, yeah, fine, no problem.
Let's supposing we vote on what this request says, Savings Bank, goes to the council floor, we recommend it. Another councilman brings up the fact that, well, why don't we finance it through the city? Does that have to go back to committee again?
I would say that yes, because no one would have a chance to have really vetted it unless we do it right on the floor. I mean, you could probably do it on the floor, but it's a different request. I hate to say it's a technical issue, but it's a technical issue that has meaning because what came to you was a certain item to consider. It was a borrowing from the bank that the city was asked to give a simple yes or no, really easy, no problem. If you wanted to do it, you'd make the motion, Ben seconds it, done deal. This is a little different. This now involves a different borrowing in a different way. It requires looking at what, what the city can do with respect to lending, what the source of the funds would be, how the finance department would process that. Are there any other issues? I don't know what those issues are. I don't know.
So Ben wants to change his motion to say that we would reject this and we would rather see it, the city loan the money.
Right, and then.
And that would be our recommendation as a committee.
Well, you could do that, but what if
Does it solve the problem?
what if Ben's recommendation doesn't work for some reason?
The council can overrule it and accept it.
Except,
The recommendation that was in front of, they can always overturn us.
oh yeah, they can decide, they can decline to vote positively on the alternative. They can go back to the first one if they want to.
Right. So we
Or
can
they
make,
can return it to the committee.
right, so the motion would be tonight is to, like Phil said, to reject their, I don't want to stop them from paying for it. I don't know how that would affect their financially. But we can make a motion to reject their offer to go to the bank and then recommend as an alternative that the council lend the money on the floor, on the council of the whole, and the council of the whole could either accept that or reject it. Or they can, since it's a second issue, they can send it back to committee.
All I'm saying, yes, that's possible. You guys are in charge, right? Council's in charge. All I'm saying is that as a matter of protocol, someone on the council may raise the issue that this is a different request that came to the committee. And you're right about that. It is different in a significant sense. That is that it's not a borrowing from a bank. It's a borrowing from the city. It's a different thing. The issue is the same, get the gate, right?
But that's what we're doing. In reality, we're going to reject their request. That's what we're here to do. So we reject
And
it.
then recommend something else.
And then recommend for the council to consider the second part, the second motion, almost like two motions. First motion is to reject it, and then the alternative be to accept alternate financing.
You don't have to even reject it. You could just take no action on the first one.
Right.
You could always keep it alive for July. You know what I mean? In other words, if for some reason the second one doesn't work after a discussion at the July meeting, if that's the case, you could always just bring it on back.
As I said,
Phil,
If-
go ahead.
Chair to Debbie, how much of a delay can you withstand here?
Yeah, it's being installed on July 19th at this point right now. Now, I have already held off giving them the deposit that I was required to give, so I think I can talk them through to let me hold off until probably the first part of August. So we would obviously like to have a decision by the July meeting, but if we had to hold off until the August meeting, we've had a great relationship with them, and I think we could.
Is it possible to approve this one with an option pending approval from Richter Park? Or,
No.
Richter Park. I'm at the wrong meeting.
Still last night, right?
That was last night.
They won't
From the
give
parking
me-
authority,
Mhm.
would have the option, once they meet, to take our option for loading into city money. This way, there's no delay on her money.
Through the chair, the thing that bothers me the most probably of all is that whether the authority, so even if you send it back to the council that way, did the authority vote to approve this alternative method? And so you're going to be stuck with that question, right? The authority should, by vote, say, all right, we now want to change gears, we want to go to the city to borrow money. There's no motion from the authority, there's nothing from the authority on this. This came up from you guys, and Debbie's request with the authority was borrow from savings bank. Then nobody's coming to you with this alternative. You don't have any vote of the authority. That's a problem. You know, and that's probably a greater concern.
the chair, did the authority vote to go to the savings bank in Danbury? Was that a vote?
It was not a vote. No, it was something that they requested me to get the specifics on it.
Okay, so you can go to any bank here.
Oh, yes, this was just happened to be the better option. I got, bids and prices from, other banks.
So the authority just said to you, Debbie, go out and get the best finance possible.
Yes,
And that's in their minutes.
right.
So that letter, Savings Bank of Danbury did not come out in their minutes.
No.
At bank,
No.
they just said, go out and get the best financing.
Mhm.
Your letter to the council was the best financing I found was Savings Bank of Danbury.
Correct.
So I'm going to throw it back to the Corporation Council. Now, based on our conversation we just had, how does that affect your thoughts?
I don't want to dance in the head of a pin about this. You know, you'd rather just get the job done, right? So I don't mean to, but protocol is important because it does come up frequently. And the two issues in my mind is the authority. The letter indicates the authority authorized Debbie to do something is fine. It came forward this way. Okay, so let's take that out. If there's a different request, and different means that the request now is for the city to get involved directly as a lender, I think that's a significant enough change where the authority should specifically authorize that through her to come back with that request. That's my opinion.
When's your next meeting?
This morning. I can call a special meeting. I think that would probably be best then.
Okay. So, again, through the corporation, through the chair,
You know,
by the time our council meeting occurs, would you have something for the dais so we can present at the dais as part of our minutes? Can we add their letter to our minutes?
That would probably solve the first problem. And then you'd have the other problem, which is you'd have to vet to look at the whole issue on the floor. You'd have to have Dan's office, Wayne's office, and my office have done an examination of how that can be done, if it can be done, in what format. And that would have to be done in a week, or whatever next week is. So you'd have to have, it would be like this meeting here, except you'd be in front of the full council, discussing the particulars of an arrangement where the city would lend the money. There'd be 1,000 questions, right, about how, when did it come up last, what the rate would be, other things like that. So
Is that doable?
you can do that. It's just it's a little more cumbersome at a full because you'll be looking at everybody will be looking at it fresh and everybody will have a question. It'll take you a long time. That's all. I imagine there'll be a lot of questions about it. You guys would know better. But if you have fresh council people, all the council people seeing this for the first time, if they thought that it was just a simple borrowing from the savings bank, now it's going to be borrowing from the city, you're going to have a lot of questions about that, and you'll likely see a recommittal. Very likely see a recommittal. Because I know Paul will probably, I'm not mentioning names, but there are people who probably want to be committed because they didn't get a chance to see it.
I'm going to say, this is bureaucracy at its best, is the way I see it. And maybe the cleanest way to do this is just do it the way Savings Bank of Danbury. I mean, it's going to cost us a couple dollars more, but this is bureaucracy. I mean, this is the price we pay. What happens when you get lawyers involved?
I told you that you don't have to invite lawyers to every meeting.
Well, again, I'm going to refer it back to Dan. I mean, what would you see? What would you like the city to do? Would you like them to go to savings bank, or do you find it better to keep it in house? You don't
Financially, it doesn't make much difference. 75,000. If you save 1%, you're talking 750 a year, and that's assuming that the full 75,000 is outstanding. So it's even less than that. So it's it's not going to make a huge difference either way for either the city or the authority. But
By the way, I didn't say that ex officio Councilman Perkins is here. Dwayne, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for coming late. I had a whole bunch of things to do. It sounds like the discussion is kind of swinging toward some type of in-house financing through the city itself. Is that because of a lower interest rate than what Savings Bank of Danbury Union Savings offers? It's the same?
Similar, no way. We get 3.5% interest instead of the bank.
Oh, I see. So just pay ourselves instead of paying out to a private institution? Okay, thank you.
There's one other, Mr. Chairman, legal issue to remember here, that by going the second route, the city has a direct credit, or a lender liability. Whereas with the first issue, we're just a stand-back party. If you're a creditor, the city would be a creditor here, right? As a lender, there's more obligation and liability there. For example, if the city's not paid back,
We have collateral that's under.
then you have to pursue the collateral as a city, as opposed to city just saying, we don't have anything to do with this. I'm
I
just.
would suggest that we do it the clean way, Ben.
You can't take back the gates.
No, we need the gates.
So there's a current motion on the floor.
There is a motion on the floor. What do you want to do about it?
You could always bring it back to this committee, just have the committee, meet again. If you really want to do that,
I just don't want to do what's best for the city, that's what.
There's not a lot of difference either way.
Yeah.
Terribly, correct? It really is.
No, the only things that would help their cash flow, because like you said, they don't have to hold the collateral.
I mean, that's our goal, is to help.
Yeah, cost-wise, there's not a huge difference.
What would you like to do? I mean, how would you like?
I think the city should pay for the equipment.
there you go.
It's that.
He's laughing. You know, I appreciate, you know, your help on that, I really do. I don't want to tie it up too long, quite honestly, because I don't want to, you know, I appreciate anyone's help, and that's,
Okay, and I'll just,
Through the chair, Deb, if your money was tied up and you really got in a bind and needed something big, you could come to the city, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope
Just
so.
request later.
Yeah.
So we can back up your piggy bank if
Yeah.
you need it. So-
That's a very, I would certainly hope that would be an option if we, you know, hopefully we never would, you know, but.
All right, we got,
this is one more question before, would this affect the rates of the garage anyway? The rates won't go up because of this?
Well, not specifically because of this, but we are going to in the near future have to raise rates. It's just, we've had 2 very difficult years, and we are discussing raising rates.
And that's not because of this?
Not specifically, even without it, we would want to be.
So if we were to finance this through in-house, your rates will still go up?
I believe so. We're holding off as long as we can, but we've started the discussions. It's been 2 years since we raised permit rates. They're the lowest of any town the size of Danbury. We're at $40 a month currently. The cheapest is $75 in Norwich. So we're very, very low. So just again, to build up any kind of reserves, just to be fiscally responsible, we need to think about raising rates. If it's not, extending hours of operations is something, so we've begun the discussion process.
I mean, as an economic development
Right.
person, how would that affect anything?
I don't think so, I really don't. Debbie's the expert in that, but I think, when you're dealing with a nonprofit who wants to use, they're gonna be unhappy if it's $1 or if it's $3.50. I don't know that it's gonna make a difference in an event coming to Danbury at all for an event at the ice arena. It's just not gonna make that difference. That won't be the deciding factor.
Right, if I may say, right now, our hourly rates, our transient rates at both garages are $1 an hour, so the same as on the street, so that's very reasonable. Our monthly garage rates for someone who is working downtown is $40 a month, which is, for a full-time employee, that's $2 a day. Unheard of. I mean, it's just, and we're very proud that we've been able to keep them that low and that reasonable. It's just, right now, I have 16 people that run a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operation. It's a very, very skeletal crew, and we're very proud to say we are incident-free. We keep a good, clean garages, and we do the best we can. But when I have men working alone at night at midnight closing a garage, it concerns me, and we need to get to the point where we can start building our workforce a little bit again. So it's not even just to pay for the equipment; it's just to have a good, safe, secure operation.
Now, these gates are not the one at the bar, at the
not at the new Barter
The
garage, they're
Barter.
at the old.
But the Barter one is this, the self-manned gates.
Yes.
These are not gonna be the self-manned gates.
No, we have found that people like Dan Henderson.
Okay, then I'll
Okay.
change my motion.
Well, you take Becky second.
I'll amend the motion to have the, recommend to the council that authorizes Danbury Authority to seek outside financing.
Just to give the committee comfort, and Phil, last night, you were here, right, last night? Dwayne,
Yes, I was here
Dwayne.
last night.
If last night's meeting, Phil was on the request for a cell tower, the authority, if, for example, at last night's meeting, is just to help you deal with this one tonight, if the request was changed by the committee last night to put a water tank at the same location instead of a cell tower, the committee would rightfully have been saying that, that's a whole different thing. This is very similar to that. Okay? So maybe that has it easy to understand that this is a shift of request. So that's what's happening, and I don't want to be bureaucratic, so it's kind of important in that sense.
But the motion was just to give them permission to seek financing. And it can be any financing they wish. I didn't specify, say, savings like a Danbury. Because
Okay.
it could be any outside financing, like you said, it could be Union Savings if come up with a better.
It's fine, but you got the same issues.
They would
The
have,
authority-
they would have to come back at that point, but they just authorize them to seek financing.
What are you going to do in
Outside
July?
financing.
What are you going to do in
That's-
July?
The council will have to approve it. The council approves outside financing, so they can go to any source they wish. If they wish to come back to the city, since it's,
Hold back. I know. Lean Ben.
we're here. So if they wish to come back to the city to have internal financing, they would have to do it at the request.
Well, again, you guys are charging there, right? So if you're comfortable with receiving this in this form, then fine. You're not violating any big statute or federal law here. It's just a matter of your process. So it's different. You're coming back with a different resolution than what was asked of you. That's all.
So it's the motion to seek outside financing.
Or any finance.
Or anything.
Any finance. Try your minds.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Looking for dismissal?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all
Sorry
for
it
your
lasted
time.
so long.
Can I just ask
Les,
a
thanks.
simple question?
Les,
So
that
then
was
this needs to
very
go back